Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of the P&B Sports Show. I'm your host Abel Sunday, and today we've got plenty to unpack from the world of sports. In the Nigeria Basketball Premier League, defending champion Rivers Hoopers showed no mercy as they demolished Kwara Falcons in the Athletic Conference. Joining me to break down the emphatic win is none other than Coach Ogo Odaudu. And over to Europe, it was a Champions League night to remember as Xavi Alonso, Real Madrid bounced back from their heavy 5-2 La Liga defeat with a stunning 5-0 win to do justice to that result and what it means for Real Madrid campaign. Eru John will be on hand with his expert analysis. So grab your teacup because P&B Sports start now. Welcome back. It's the P&B Sport right in Abuja. And of course, we are with Coach Ogo, virtually the head coach of River Hoopers. Coach Ogo, good morning. And how was your night?
Good morning. My night was very good, and thank you for having me here.
Coach Ogo, I know you are a very happy man right now. 2 out of 2, and the pressure is mounting. Defending champion, you won it back to back. And what is it for River Hoopers? Your first game was against Hoops and Reed, and if you recall, that was the repeat of the finals of last season. So you guys dispatched them easily. So what is it with this River Hoopers?
Well, it is early preparation and teamwork. We are not a team that waits until the date for the league has been announced before we start getting ready. We start getting ready way ahead of time. As a matter of fact, we start our preparations from January. So teamwork is the key. We all know what we want. We all know what the target is. We lay it out early in the season, and everybody knows that this is what we are fighting for. And the moment has arrived, and we don't want to take any chances. So that's why you see us being very clinical and being very efficient every time we're on the floor.
Coach Ogo, yesterday you played Kwara Falcons, and of course, your masterpiece, and I see your tactics, the tactical play right there on the floor. And come to think of it, you don't have some of your key players are not even there because the likes of Ofia Abel is no longer with Hoopers. He has gone to Boko City Chief. We have the likes of Coco Junior is not also with the team, and those are very influential. And I remember you went to bar with them. So without these players, how were you able to fill in their gap?
Well, like I said, basketball is a team game. It's not an individual game. It's just to know the right pieces to fit in when you are down. Abel Ofia left, and of course we got somebody back. We have a young kid now who is gradually rising in the ranks. Favor. And of course he shot the lights out yesterday in the game yesterday. So if Abel had not left, we would not have discovered that. Also Coco left, of course, Oglina Pastures is in Japan now. And then we looked around and found somebody from the north, John Idoga, who is feeling well for him now. So the thing is just to know the key components of what you are doing when you want to build your team and make sure that the replacements are there. Yes, we need them a lot, but the people who are in their positions are actually standing in for them very well, and they are doing a great job so far. And that is what teamwork is about. It's not all about one person, it's all about the whole 12 people who are dressed up for that game that particular day.
Okay, Coach Ogo, I want to assume that the pressure is mounting right now because you're getting it 3 on a roll, and I don't think any team has done it in the history of Nigerian Basketball Premier League, winning it back to back to back. I don't think any team has done it, and I think the pressure the pressure is growing higher now. But what are your predictions so far from 2 games you've played so far for this conference? And what do you think? How can you from your own prediction, can you list the 4 teams that are going to qualify to the final 8?
Well, ever since the past 2 years, the competition has become very, very tougher and fiercer, and nothing is as easy as it looks anymore. Everybody wants to make it to the final 8. and so the competition is up. On our side, on our conference here, unfortunately, 3 teams did not make it down here. So we have only 4 teams. And out of these 4 teams, or 5 teams, and out of these 5 teams, each and every one of them has a very great chance of making it to the final 8. As it stands today, you cannot actually say, I think the only 2 teams that are comfortable and who you can guarantee will be at the final 8 is just Lagos Legends and River Supers. The next 2 slots is still wide open between Comet, Hoops and Reed, and Kwara Falcons. So we will have a clearer picture at the end of the games today, and of course we can now say these are the other 2 that will qualify. But it's really really tight. It cannot be called right now, but it's going to be maybe Hoops and Reed and Comet at the end of the day.
Okay, Coach, let's come back to your players. Let's talk about Coco Victor, your captain. With the age, the experience, he's still giving it on the court. But what we wonder, how you manage to use him, because I think I watched your game against Hoops and Reed. You play him sometimes 3-4 minutes, you pull him out, you take him in again, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, you pull him out. So how were you able to manage him in terms of fitness and everything is given on the floor?
Well, you just said all that you needed to be said. You answered the question yourself. Cook, of course, is a veteran player, and just like you say, he needs to be managed. He's not somebody that you can throw. Coco 10 years ago, you can play him for 40 minutes and he will still be willing to play for another 20 minutes. But Coco of today, of course, very, very experienced. He still has a lot to give, but you cannot run him down physically. So you give him a few minutes, let him go. He'll go to be at his best if he plays 3, 4, 5 minutes, very, very productive. Then bring him out to come and rest again. It is not the same. Of course, we have younger guys who can step up and give him some rest. Of course, we have Samuel Asani, we have Hector and Pucci. So we have people who can give him a rest, give him a blow, so that he can go and rest and come back and perform at the same level that he was performing before he left. But Coco is not somebody that you can go to play for 1 full quarter or for, say, 20 minutes. No, you have to break it down in between, because he still has a lot to offer. And you can see he's holding his own. Yeah. He's still very effective. Very, very effective. So, just like you said, it's time management. We have to manage the minutes, make sure that we don't burn him out, and that way he's more effective for us.
Okay. Let's go, as we try to wrap up this interview. Let's go to the final 8. Are we expecting to see foreign players, maybe the likes of Kevin Amayo, the likes of Maxi Champa, the likes of what's his name, Olisa Omeka? Are we expecting to see those guys in the final 8?
Well, according to the rules of the league, we are only entitled to only 3 foreigners in the league. So we are not going to see a lot of them, but yes, definitely we are going to have a couple of foreign players join us eventually for the final 8. Their names, we are still in touch with them. It's not concluded yet, so I cannot come out to say their names. But okay. Yes, I'm guaranteed. I'm confirming to you now that there will be a couple of foreign players on our roster eventually during final 8. So.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, sir, I just want you, in one sentence, how will you rate the Nigerian Premier League now? How will you rate it? Is it something that is still work in progress, or is it something that you say, okay, they are there now already?
So we are not there yet. There are still a lot of lapses. The organizers are doing their best, but it is not perfect. But of course, we are playing in the Savannah Conference. All the teams are there and everything is working fine. Unfortunately, teams have to pull out here, and I think it's all because of the fact that there is no major sponsor for the league right now. But we hope sometime by next year, things will not be the same anymore. Maybe we'll get a sponsor or something, and then we'll have more quality games and play more games. This season was planned out for us to have a lot more games too. Unfortunately, we would have played a lot more games than we played last season. But then teams pulled out and from the area, and it affected us and Kwara because we only played each other. We only played 2 games before this phase, while the other teams had played close to 6 games each before coming to this phase. But but we only played 2 games. So it's still like, okay, maybe I should just say it's still a work in progress, but hopefully we'll get there.
Okay, head coach Rivers Hoopers, Coach Ogo, I want to thank you very much indeed for coming up and to talk to us on P&B Sports this morning. Thank you very much, Coach Ogo.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Okay, we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, Eru John will be right here with us, and we'll be talking everything about Champions League, what happened to Arsenal last night. Don't go and we'll be right back. Come back. It's still P&B Sport right in Abuja, and we'll have virtually joining us from Benin, Eru John. Eru, how is Benin this morning?
Good morning. Benin is fine. The weather is quite cold, but we are good.
Is Monday Kobler back from the United States? Because I know he wants to do something there.
Yeah, he went to the UK actually.
Okay, UK, back. Sorry, UK, yeah. Is he back?
He's back.
With a lot of goodies, right?
We hope so.
Okay, let's dive into the conversation, John. Yesterday was I think it was a good night. It was a night that Alonso and his team need to redeem themselves. Getting 5-0 over Almaty, or how they call them. The very small thing, yes, I agree, but at least I think that was a response from the La Liga defeat 5-2 against their neighbors on Saturday. But let's talk about that Saturday before we migrate to this Champions League. What did it happen? For the first time, Alonso's back was on the ground, on the wall, for the first time in this season.
Okay, going into that game between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, first off, you will agree with me that it is a derby, that it is a Madrid derby. And if you are our football lovers, football fans, football supporters, we know how a derby match can be. It is only in a derby or in a fierce rivalry that you see a team that before that game they were out of form, they were not playing so well. But when they see certain teams, they tend to just their adrenaline starts popping. And that was the case for Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid have been having a good run into the season before that game. But when it came to Atletico Madrid and the game being played at Atletico Madrid Stadium, and being a derby, everybody wants to prove a point. Diego Simeone wants to prove a point against the Xabi Alonso, who just came into the La Liga coaching system. Everybody has a point to prove, and I just see the game as it was a battle for supremacy, really. And then Atletico Madrid happens to have the edge. And then also there is also something called the tactical point of view. If you were going into games, I believe coaches, because I was once a coach, you study your opponents, you study them both tactically and otherwise, how they play, what they play. And I believe Diego Simeone he did his assignments, he did his homework very well on Xabi Alonso and the Madrid's pattern of play. And then the results came out positively in his favor. So I give him kudos. I will not really blame Xabi Alonso because you win some, you lose some. This is football. You win some, you lose some. You cannot always eat your cake and have it. So Atletico Madrid were just the better team. That's just what I see in that encounter because I watched the game. Atletico Madrid just happened to be the better team.
Okay, many will argue that Real Madrid in Champions League, their form can never dwindle. They always know how to do it, and they always know where to hit it from in Champions League. Whether they are having bad form or bad run in the league, but when it comes to Champions League, you see Real Madrid always coming right on top. Was that the case yesterday?
Yes, that was the case yesterday. Yes, like I will agree with you. Real Madrid, when it comes to the Champions League, they are a completely different team entirely. They can lose on a weekend in the La Liga, and then in midweek in the Champions League, they go on to defeat their opponents. This is not just a case of Kairat Almaty that they played yesterday. We have seen them do it severally, even against better opponents, against bigger teams. That's Real Madrid for you. They have the Champions League spirit. It is embodied in them. Also, in addition, apart from that being the case, yesterday I also think that they played against. I think the Real Madrid feeders team. We beat Kairat Almaty. No offense. There's something called pedigree in football. There's something called tradition. The Kairat Almaty does not have the pedigree to play Real Madrid. They don't have the heritage to play Real Madrid. Is a big fish. I was not expecting anything less than what I saw. I was even expecting the goals to be more than that. There was nothing that I was not expecting them to come up with any upsets against Real Madrid, against the Real Madrid side in that encounter. Yes.
Okay, I think you said it all, but let's flip over, because I think the one that I want us to focus on is Liverpool and Liverpool against Galatasaray, which you know that our main man is involved. Victor Osimhen has broken a record again. You remember it was Obafemi Martins that owns the highest Champions League goals in Nigeria as a Nigerian rather. You know, he scored 9. Obafemi has scored 9. But yesterday, Osimhen scored his 10th Champions League goal, and which put him on top of everyone. And if you also remember, Osimhen is also the second highest goal scorer right now in for the Super Eagles. I'm talking about for country. So with this put together, where do you see Osimhen in the next 3-4 years?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I am one person who is I am an addict follower and supporter of Victor Osimhen. Not just because
he's an Edo boy.
Not funny enough. It's not even because of the fact that he's an Edo boy, but I like players who do what they do with so much passion. You don't need to be the best at what you do, but once I see that you do it with so much love and passion, I fall in love with you. I've always told people that Victor Osimhen is one of the few players in the Super Eagles team that I can go all out for. And the reason is because I see the way he plays even in the national team. It is exactly the replica of what he does in the club side. There are some players in our Super Eagles team, when you watch them play for their club and you watch them play for the country, you begin to wonder, is this the same person or this a clone? For example, I'm not trying to do names calling, Alex Iwobi, what he gives to the countryside is not compared to what he gives at the club side. So, but for the case of Victor Osimhen, it is different. And I can tell you for a fact that that is one of the reasons why he's excelling at what he does. We saw the way he played yesterday against Liverpool. That is exactly what he does in the national team. He tries to give in his all. And like your question goes, where do I see him going in 3-4 years? I see him smashing more records. As a matter of fact, mark my words, before Victor Osimhen will retire from the national team, he would have placed the highest goal scorer for Nigeria in the Super Eagles. I can bet you. He's presently second. I see him climbing that first position because he's a very good striker. He's a complete striker. He can score with his head. He can score with his feet. He has so much strength. He has so much pace. I just think he needs 1 or 2 fine-tuning to do, and that will be the best of Victor Osimhen we'll ever see. When he fell out of love at Napoli, so many people went on saying, "Oh, this is the end of Victor Osimhen. This is the end of his form." He moved to Galatasaray on loan, and we saw what he did. He gave them the league. He won the highest goal scorer. You can imagine that, and now he's back there again. They have signed him, and he's still doing wonders. He's a very good striker. He's one player that plays with so much passion, so much strength, so much. He plays the game like his life depends on it, and that is a good player. So I give it to him.
But Aaron, I know you mentioned something when you were analyzing just now. You talked about the passion and how he gave it all to the game, and some other of his teammates does not do the same. But you know, and there's this conversation that the treatment from the federation, it does not really warrant you giving everything. Probably you might come and play and you get injured, they leave you, they don't even know. Sometimes the way you treat somebody, even if you're domestic staff, or let's say even your cleaner, the way you treat your cleaner, it will give your cleaner a sense of belonging, and how the cleaner might even clean better. You understand? Let's assume that this morning I just woke up and I saw her, maybe my cleaner is doing something, and they're like, oh, okay, take this. Or well, not even money now. Just how was your night? I hope you are okay. And so this kind of care, like how do you sleep and stuff like that. Just it's not that you're even doing anything, but I think deep down, but I don't know if that will justify their actions. So because Victor Osimhen is doing otherwise, but I think deep down, don't you think the federation could have done something better, or would have helped if they behaved better?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I share your sentiments. I share your sentiments in 100%. You see, the way you treat somebody also, it plays a role in the person's action towards you. Very correct. The Nigeria Football Federation has not really impressed in terms of catering for the players and the coaching staffs of the team, the people that represent the country, not just in football. Recently, we saw a video of Toby Amusa, who happens to be one of our greatest athletes, complaining of the way they were treated and the Tokyo competition they went for.
Yes,
the Tokyo athletics competition they went for. So it is not, I can tell you that 70% of Nigerians were not surprised by that information. They were not surprised. This is not something that is new. It is something that, as a matter of fact, it is so bad. I'm not justifying it, but we have gotten so used to it that the federation does not really care. They don't cater for our players. They don't treat them well. They are not. I believe that is one of the reasons many of these players, when they come to the national team, they don't want to give their all. For example, they don't want to get injured, because if they get injured, it automatically means that somebody is going to take their spot in the club side, and it's not like the country is guaranteeing them any proper treatment or proper care. As a matter of fact, some of them even go back to their club sides with injuries. We have heard the likes of Jurgen Klopp and some others criticize AFCON for these same reasons. They call it an irrelevant competition, because at the end of the day, when these players come, they are not treated well. They are meant to come back to their club side. The expenses is brought back to the club side. Meanwhile, they represent the country. That is on one hand. The country needs to do better. The National Football Federation needs to do better. As a matter of fact, the National Sports Commission needs to be held accountable in respect to catering for our players and athletes when they go to represent the country. But sir, I would like to draw your attention to something quickly. There's something called patriotism. I can remember vividly. I'm trying to remember the year, whether the 2014 or 2018 Olympics. Mikel Obi, a former Super Eagles player, personally hired an aircraft to fly our players down to go and compete in the Olympics. I remember they got to Japan. I've forgotten where the Olympics took place. They got to that country 4 hours before they played Japan. They did not have time to rest, and they eventually won that game 5-2, if you remember.
Yeah.
That is an act of patriotism. He was not obligated to do so. It was not compulsory for him to do so. They waited in the airport. I remember that story just like I remember my name. They waited in the airport for so long. The presidential aircraft refused to come. The aircraft that the NFF claimed that they hired for them refused to show up. He had to step in urgently because he had the money. I'm not saying that our players they should be paid. No. What I'm trying to draw from that is there should also be an act of patriotism from the players. You already know that you are not going to get the best of care from the national team. I'm not saying you should settle for less. All I'm saying is, if you decide to get a call-up and you accept the call-up, then be ready to give your all. If not, you can't declare the call-up. We have seen players fake injuries because they don't want to represent the national team. True. We have seen players give excuses because they don't want to go and represent their national team. They will come up with excuses why they cannot leave their club side. We have seen players go to their club side to tell their club side to refuse them accepting the call of the national team. So if you now decide that yes, I'll be called up by Nigeria to come and represent and I want to go, then give your all. Don't come here. 2 wrongs cannot make a right. Don't come here and give 10% and your excuse or your justification is the fact that you are not being taken care of properly. You already know that you are not being taken care of properly. So if you don't want to, don't come. It's that simple. Don't come. That notwithstanding, I am not saying what the NFF or the National Sports Commission is doing is good, but all I'm saying is these players already know that this is what is happening. While we are trying to find a remedy, give your all. Osimhen has been giving his all. He did not die. The likes of Ademola Lookman, they give their all. They didn't die. But there are some players in that team that it is very evident that they are not doing half of what they do at the club side. They don't want to give their all. How in the name of what? If you don't want to play for the national team, sit in your club. Nobody is forcing you. If you get a call up, decline it. That's my tip, sir.
All right, Mr. Erudron is a sport analyst from Benin, based in Benin. I want to thank you very much indeed for coming up to this show and analyze sport with us this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Eru.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So that's the start of our show this morning. I'm Abel Sunday, and from me and the entire team right in Abuja, I say goodbye.